Hey everybody out there, finally we are back. And usually Mike does the intro for these indie videos, the indie reviews, but I'm taking over intro this time due to the fact that Google Plus has finally fully taken over, apparently, YouTube. We all know YouTube's owned by Google, so of course any product now of Google, they're going to want to push it on YouTube people such as us.
And that would be Google Plus.
And that is Google Plus. And we no longer have the ability to reply back to your guys' comments. Even if we switch over to the Google Plus layout,
nothing changes.
It does not change the fact that we still cannot reply back to you guys. I went back to the regular YouTube format after I saw it didn't matter. Still debating, because as I always said, I like being known as Chris Ventura, and my reviews is the Dark Avenger reviews, because my channel is Dark Avenger C86. So I'm debating whether to make the change now, because apparently at some point we're all going to have to, whether we want to or not.
Because it says temporarily.
Right. We're going to have to eventually permanently link our Google Plus accounts to our YouTube accounts. So I'm debating whether I want to do it now or wait till later. Really doesn't matter at this point. Once darkavengerinc.com is up, things will be a lot different. As far as comments for now, guys, if you have anything you want to have us reply to, whether it be a statement that you'd like to get our reply to, or a question, or you have something that you wanted to show, like say to us and see what our reply would be, feel free to personal message us on this channel and we will reply to you guys that way. I know I told a bunch of people that I used to PM all the time, you know, you guys should comment on the videos, this way we can have like a whole community. And that's one thing I feel that YouTube just ruined, the fact that you have a community of people talking with each other in the comments. That no longer is there.
I have no idea why they discarded replying to people.
Maybe it's temporary, maybe it's not.
Well, I hope so.
I hope it's temporary, but if it's not, then that's what this disclaimer is for. If you guys have anything you want to get a reply from us for, blow up the inbox, I don't mind. We love hearing from you guys, so please feel free to personal message us as many times as you want, whenever you want. We will reply back to you guys as soon as we have the time to. So we will still be answering your guys' comments. Just send them through the PMs, or else, unfortunately, we cannot write back to you anymore through comments, at least not at this time. Hopefully that'll change. Probably it will. When is a good question, but we have no clue. So, like I said, statements that you want to hear a reply or our opinion on, questions, just send them straight through personal message. This week is the indie review is a bit late. I was sick, and this is a disclaimer for my comic review, the main Big 2 review. That will be up tomorrow. Tonight is going to, or tomorrow is, yeah, tomorrow. This morning you guys are going to get the indie review, and when you go to Dark Avenger Inc., Mike's videos as well as mine for the past, well, me for a week, him for the past 2 weeks, will be up, and my videos for last week will also probably be up as well. Depends on time. Recording, I still have to read a couple of books, so everything will be up, or we'll be back on track by Friday. Let's just leave it at that. And with that, let's get into the indie review. We've already wasted a lot of time.
We got some comics and we got some digitals. Unfortunately, I do not have my iPod Touch to show the covers again.
Battery is dead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get new batteries. But however,
you don't need new batteries. You just have to charge it.
Well, yeah, that too, but sometimes the battery... I don't know, there's something wrong with my iPod. But anyway, beside the point, I do have the covers for these paper comic books.
Physical copies.
Yes, I have 4 comic books that I have for this week, and we got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digital books, and 1 honorable review that we are going to actually do first.
Yes, so...
Mike read this entire series.
Yes.
You want to introduce it?
Yes, this comic book is from Assailant Comics, and it is written by one of the people who we met at New York Comic Con, Chris Charleston, and that would be Binary Gray, issue number 1. This comic book was really, the story was really amazing. Like, it talks about this guy named Alex Gray, Before it gets to Alex Gray, though,
Might
we
I
get,
interrupt you? This artwork is spectacular.
I was
and I read through most of it. I didn't read all of it, so I don't want to ruin what do you call it? Anything by saying I don't know the whole thing. So Mike's doing this fully.
So it's Alex Gray talks about when he was with his father, and he feels like really sad that his father died. Like he's kind of a little antisocial a little bit with people. He's like a technician type of person. And then he got his hand stuck in this wire, and when he woke up from a coma, he like heard voices in his head, and everything he touched or anything he said, like TV on, TV went on, and I thought that was pretty cool. And he has a little bit of a white strand on his hair as well.
That's the binary gray, obviously.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away because you guys have definitely got to read this comic book, but they do give a biography of Alex Gray, and basically to sum it all up, he's just one of these computer technicians, and with a little bit of accent that has went through his wire and everything throughout his whole body, turns into this person who he hears voices, like I said before, and communicates with technology. And he looks.
It sounds like a very interesting
he
series.
looks like
I enjoyed what I was reading.
Yeah, I have a great feeling that he's going to be a useful character throughout this whole entire series.
It's the series about him. He better be a useful character.
Well, I mean useful as in, other things.
Interesting character, you mean?
Well, interesting. Don't correct me. But beside the point, you guys have definitely. I highly recommend you check out Binary Gray.
It's a $3.99 book.
$3.99 book from Salient Comics. It is spectacular with the artwork and everything else. Check it out from Salient Comics.
One thing I would like to mention that you don't know yet is if you go to Salient Comics Facebook page, there is a contest that will be going on, and the winner will get the first 6 issues of Binary Gray.
Ooh, 6 issues?
Yeah, the whole first volume.
Ooh, I hope I win.
You.
Hi, Chris. Let's continue.
So if you're interested in the contest, the rules, and the full rundown of the prizes and everything, go check it out on Salient Comics Facebook page. I would say I'll leave a link in the description, but I am so far behind on descriptions, it's not even funny.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's on Facebook. You go to Facebook, you type in the Salient Comics in the top URL bar, you search it, and you will find it.
Yes.
Knowing Brant, if he's watching this right now, it'll probably be in the comments. So that was our honorable mention. This book didn't come out this week. Right. And the week we are discussing is the week of October 23rd, 2013.
Yes.
So now Mike is going to do his full run of the physical copies.
Yes, right here.
Because I didn't read a dang... I was so damn sick.
Well, actually, I was actually talking to you about this. This is from Vertigo. This is the Sandman issue #1. Okay. I picked up this issue because I thought, Sandman, a lot of people said that this might, this is a great comic book, but to be honest, I had no idea what was going on. Like, this book, minus the dialogue and everything, the artwork, it's a bit okay, but it was really all about, I was reading, like, death and demons and stuff like that. Like, this was, like, really, I'm talking, like, this dark. Like, it was really, really dark, and it was just, like, really all over the place. There was switching, going back and forth, and I was trying, I had to reread this, like, twice, just to see if maybe it was me or the comic book, but after reading it over twice, it's really the comic book. Like, it's just all about death and the suicide. And this, mind you, is the story. After this whole big paper you see here is all the Sandman volumes.
Yeah,
and Fables.
It's basically a run of... I heard Y was a really good series. Y the Last Man is a really good
Y the
series.
Last Man. They show here. They show, like, basically different volumes of different books.
And then the preview of the Sandman Overture, which comes out.
Right.
Which came
Which is
out,
upside
but...
down.
Yeah, but that's for next week's Indie Review.
Yeah, but I tell you guys,
Which, by the way, we should have been doing this week's indie review instead of that last week's.
But guys, do you really need this? I don't know. It's up to you guys if you're into the whole...
Wrong way.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. If you're into dark, death, like, soul thingamajigger demon-like things, I guess it's for you. But to me, I found it boring. Okay. If you guys found it good, that's your opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinions. But to me, Sandman was the least no-go. But going into something better, which I was surprised that actually turned out better, Futurama Comics, issue number 69. And this is from Bongo Comics. This book was surprisingly amazing. We get a little Dr. Seuss cat in the hat. I had to show that part. Beside the pointing, the cat in the hat's telling the mother she needs a heart transplant. And basically, after she meets up with, what was his name?
The world of tomorrow.
Terry. He tells him that the person who has the heart is Fry. So Mom goes to Fry to offer him an opportunity to work at Mom's Corp for an internship, actually. And artwork is just like the cartoons you see on Comedy Central or whatever channel.
Oh, they would just
you watch
cancel.
that. I know. That's sad. And it's just like the whole thing where Fry had to leave. Well, Mom Corp wanted to get rid of Fry because he was no use for using the heart donor. And if you want to know the whole other spiel of the comic book, you can read this for yourselves. But this, unlike the last issue, was really good.
Wasn't as confusing, huh?
No, it wasn't as confusing, going back, forth, and sideways, and front ways, and back ways, and any other ways I can't even think of right now. This comic book, really good. If you're a Futurama fan, you'll be definitely picking this up for that. And now we go into the two Archie comics with Mega Man, Blackout, The Curse of Ramoon, Part 2 of 4 of Mega Man issue number 30. And this comic book was like, it was very interesting because it's like getting into the Ramoon and everything, and this big fight scene that happens when Mega Man and his friends help him fight along that. There's just like a whole big thing where Ramoon wants to destroy robot humanity, and some of them are not aware of that because they don't know what Ramoon's grand plan is. So Mega Man and
friends.
Yeah, and friends, and there was somebody who helped him out. What was his name? I think it was Shadowman. Yeah, Shadowman. I keep forgetting his name. I don't know why. Actually, no, it wasn't Shadowman.
Woodman?
Excuse me for a second. No, it wasn't Woodman. It was, I think Flashman? I don't know. It was basically somebody like turned Quick Man, I believe his name was. And,
too many mans.
Yeah, too many mans, actually. And, yeah, there's a big talk between Mega Man and Proto Man, if that's his real name. And there's just, it's turning out to be,
well, at least Proto Man, it looks like him and Mega Man are back on the same page again.
Yeah, like they're on a little bit of good terms, even though Mega Man can't forget what he did to Roll a few issues back from what we saw.
Yeah, but if you remember the Sonic Mega Man crossover,
the Sonic Mega Man crossover worlds collide. But that was in a different world. This is back in the regular world now, where everything's from what it was before that. Really interesting issue of Ramoon. It's just really like turning out to be really good, and I hope it stays that way in the Mega Man comics. Still with Archie Comics, Sonic Universe, issue number 57 of Pirate Plunder Panic, part 3 of 4.
And I did get the variant cover because I thought this cover was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, with Sonic saying, "I'm away for 2 issues," and this happens. And believe me.
And there's no Sonic.
And there's no Sonic. I was gonna get there. So Blaze is trying to get out while Bean has the Soul Emerald, and then it Captain Metal sends someone to go after someone with the Soul Emerald, and somebody has it. Who belongs to Captain Whisker, who is a robotic form of a Mega Man. And everyone just wants to stop him. By the way, this is Dr. Whisker. Artwork is really phenomenal. Mega Man artwork was also phenomenal. Forgot to mention that.
I think all the artwork this week was phenomenal.
Well, except Sandman, kind of.
Well, that's your book.
But that's my book, yeah. And there are some scenes that are hilarious, and there are other scenes where it's like adventurous, but things don't look so well in the end for everybody, because the Soul Emerald, spoiler alert, goes back to Captain Metal. So now Captain Metal has possession of the Soul Emerald that Blaze needs to send Amy and her other friends back to the other universe.
And something was just brought to my attention. The Fox, which is coming out next week, we actually got also to review. It comes out on the 30th.
Right.
So.
But, yeah.
That's something to promote that came out last week.
Yeah. Basically, the strong points for this week were Mega Man issue number 30 and Sonic Universe issue number 57. Hands down. But Futurama, definitely recommended, but Sandman, up to you guys for that one. But yeah. So that's it for the comics. So now we'll go into the digital stuff,
which we have 8 digital books for. And we're starting off with Image Takau's Bushido, The Way of the Warrior, issue 4 of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Kichiro, no, we should start with Orochi. Orochi is now officially 100% vampire. And we don't know, I don't even know who the head vampire, what his name is. If it was mentioned, please somebody let me know in the comments below. But I did find out the woman vampire that turned Orochi, her name is Raven.
Yeah.
And Kichiro shows up. The Shogun is almost all but dead, but thank God he survives. But Orochi ended up stealing, her name, the Shogun's daughter, Hichoji? I forget it.
Yeah, the girl that he was gonna be with forever.
He was gonna marry.
Or marry.
And you see that the brothers finally completely turned to the side of the vampires. And then it turns out that Kichiro, this is kind of a bit of a spoiler alert for this issue, but not only is this issue 2 weeks late, but the other issue's been out already, so we know how this ends. But Kichiro becomes samurai.
With his father's blade.
Yep. The Shogun presents him with his father's blade and says, "You're more samurai than your brother ever was. You learn from your father, and you're more like him than your brother, and you're a true student of the ways." So Kichiro becomes a samurai. Orochi is with the vampires. So now Kichiro goes after the vampires to save the woman he loves, as well as stop his brother Orochi. And there's this huge fight that happens in the book, which I'm not going to spoil. There was a huge fight between Kichiro and Orochi. And then the ending, well, there's a whole flashback with the father, which was freaking awesome. But the ending, finally, Orochi is snapped out of his ways. And I love how they bring up Akuma and Oni. Lots of Japanese references here, guys. And as an anime fan, I love that. But in the end, even though Orochi has turned back to the good side, so to speak, it was a whole distraction to get rid of the samurais to get the samurais away from the town and the Shogun, and the vampires are about to attack.
Right.
What do you call it? I forgot what it's called.
Nippon. Oh, Nippon, yes. And even though I'm not a vampire fan, I find this comic absolutely epic.
The artwork is freaking spectacular.
Spot on.
Awesome paint artwork. The writing is so perfect, and it's just, even if you don't like vampires or samurais, this book has action, crazy, awesome fun, no nudity again. The last issue was the only one with vampire boobs, and I can promise you one thing, that issue 5 has no vampire boobs.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. We'll talk about issue 5 in the next indie review. But if you have not picked up Bushido by now, wait for the trade. It definitely will come out from Image probably immediately. If not, if you want to buy the 5 issues, go for it. This is a worthwhile read. It was awesome from beginning to the Pendulum issue that we're up to now. It's been spectacular, and I can't wait for the next indie review, which hopefully we'll be doing this week, to discuss the final issue. But now we're going to go into Boom Studios. Yep. Mike read this book.
I can't believe I actually read this one because I thought
I reviewed 2 issues or 3 issues
I'm
back.
I'm not complaining. Fanboys vs. Zombies issue number 19.
I like this book.
Yeah, I was gonna say, surprisingly, when I read this book, I actually liked it. Like, it's like it says it all. Like, there's a zombie invasion, and everybody's trying to stop the zombies with near the train thing. There's this interesting story that someone talks about. He was like, I believe, a Mexican wrestler.
Oh yeah, he was a wrestler.
Yeah,
one time.
El something. It shows in the right there. El
Esquelito.
Yeah. El Esquelito was a wrestler, and they talk about him and how he was like really powerful and everything. And you do see him, not now because they talked about the story, but there's this one guy. What was his name?
Little boy.
No, the boy that he said.
Yeah,
that he thought he was dead. Was it Felix?
I think it was.
Yeah, but the guy actually thinking that he was dead, like he was motivating him to become that wrestler. And yeah, Felix, yeah. Felix. Thinking that Felix was dead, he just snapped and he just ripped the zombie parts off limb from limb. That was my favorite part of this book, like him coming back to his himself, like back in the wrestling days, and Felix was alive because he's part of the main character.
And his brother's actually proud of him too.
Exactly. And there's also a part in the end, after the whole zombie thing, where there was a Comic-Con, and I thought that was...
and that's where it all started. It all started at I believe it was San Diego Comic-Con, and now they're in Seattle, and they're at the Seattle Comic-Con, and it says next issue Zombie Fanboys.
Yeah, I like how in the banner it says Comic-Con Zombie Free. That was hilarious. But this comic book, the artwork was pretty good.
Artwork is cartoonish, but I love it. It fits this book so perfectly each and every time I read it.
Absolutely. And yeah, if you guys have been reading Fanboys vs. Zombies, definitely pick up this issue.
It stands to mention that this is a book that you have to have an acquired taste for. It doesn't take the whole zombie apocalypse seriously. There are serious, hilarious moments in this book. But once again, this is one of those books where you have to understand it's not The Walking Dead,
no.
And it's not completely humorous either. There are dramatic parts in this book. It's kind of a midway point. It's not like Mocking Dead, but at the same time, it's a funny version of The Walking Dead, while at the same time, it does have its Walking Dead moments, or its zombie moments.
So it's like in between serious and funny. It's like in between. That's like a balance scale.
Perfect way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I liked it, so definitely be reading that. So next comic is...
let's stick with the zombie genre. IDW's, I want to make sure I get the title right. The Other Dead.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. There are lots of swearing in this comic book.
Yes.
This is for older readers.
Dude, it was for older readers. If you checked out the first couple of pages, basically The Other Dead is not about zombie people, it's about zombie animals. And throughout this entire book, this guy Az, and his, I don't know who it is, his cousin or this little boy named Tommy, are being chased by these zombie ducks. And
weren't they crows?
No, ducks.
Oh, ducks, right.
They were ducks.
My mistake.
And a majority of the issue is the ducks versus them, and then you get the president who shows up, a bunch of zombie dogs, which was scary as hell.
Very graphic.
And then Az and Tommy escape, and then it leads into the final act, which of course leads into the next issue.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure out a way of, to get out.
But apparently all the animals are zombies. Again, this is a different spin on a zombie genre book. It's interesting. It's heavy on the cursing, though.
Like
A little bit too much at times. This is a book that's more up to you guys. I wanted to check it out, or I recommended it to Mike also to check out because it was an interesting take on this.
Yeah, with overlooking the swearing, it was very good. This comic book.
It's interesting because it has no zombie people. It's all about the animals being zombified.
So animals could be zombies too.
And it's actually more dangerous because animals have like that kind of killer instinct, whereas humans, it's hard to explain. You got to read the book to understand.
Basically, animals could have a better instinct of going after people. You know, like they have a different sense rather than people. Different smell, whatever the five senses that we have, and that.
And then there's a few little funny things at the end and a little bit of an advertisement.
But once again, this is for older readers.
Yeah,
So
I would not recommend this for kids. From the artwork and the writing alone, I definitely would say, yeah.
Yeah. But going into something else that's interesting.
I actually want to do
Oh,
that
you're
one
going to
first,
do that
yeah.
one? Okay.
I would like to talk about, this is a crossover between DC Comics and IDW. It's The Rocketeer meets The Spirit, issue number 2. We didn't review issue number 1. I did review it, however, on Comic Related, I believe. The first part of the story was a huge misunderstanding where it was a huge fight between the Rocketeer and the Spirit. And at the end of the book, we find, they find out that they're really on the same side, and they're out to find the exact same person or the reason why this other person died. And it's funny because Betty, who is the girlfriend of the Rocketeer, is actually digging the Spirit and hitting on him.
Yeah.
And the Spirit's girl, or the girl that's in love with the Spirit, there's a moment between her and the Rocketeer. So it's kind of funny how everything's kind of mixing and mashing, and once again, it has that kind of noir feel to it, like that older comic feel to it.
Yeah, when I read that too, I kind of felt the same way.
I love it. And even the artwork, and it feels so good. And then there's there's a team up between the Rocketeer and the Spirit.
That's the best part.
That was amazing. The Rocketeer's in the sky, and you got the Spirit can't fly.
Yeah, so he lifts him
So
up.
he lifts him up, and he's like, "Oh, why did I say I wanted to do this?" And
I gotta just do it. I laughed. I cracked up when I saw that.
So you got the Spirit fighting in a plane. You got the Rocketeer fighting a plane. And then I don't even want to spoil how it all ends, but it was
even though he couldn't
really
fly,
good.
He still did a great job. Even the team up was just.
It was really good, and then the ending was the biggest shocker. It involved Trask, and that's all I'm going to say.
Because they do mention the beginning of the setup for that.
But I have to admit, it was a really, really, yes, we'll get to that in a second. It was a really, really, really good book. The artwork was spectacular. The writing was spectacular. The one thing I would say is pick up issue 1 first. I'm really digging this crossover, though. I do want to make mention of who writes it. It's written by Mark Waid. No, wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
It's written by Mark Waid, pencils by Lawston Wallace, and the inks are by Bob Wennick, if I'm saying his name right. Yeah. But beside the point, Mark Waid really hits it out of the park with a lot of his things.
Absolutely.
So I would highly recommend you guys check this book out. And we will be right back in 2 seconds. The camera has to switch over, so we'll be right back after a click of a button. So, with the click of a button, we are back, and no advertisements yet. We will possibly get commercials for the indie reviews as we grow our collection of books that we review. But until then, once again, I would definitely recommend you guys check out the Spirit Rocketeer crossover. It's really fun. I hope the Spirit returns to DC Comics one day.
I hope so too, actually.
And other than the Hollywood story arc, Rocketeer's been really good in IDW as well. Sticking with IDW now, is a book you read. I didn't finish reading, but everybody's been talking about it for Lord knows how long.
The great Cartoon Network series that I'm glad it's a comic book, Samurai Jack, #1. This comic book was superb. It exactly...
Lots of covers.
Yeah. This first issue was... Like, I didn't see the first episode of Samurai Jack on TV, but it talks about basically Samurai Jack's origin.
Phantom variant?
Well, Yeah, you just noticed that right now?
Go ahead.
Well, it talks about Samurai Jack's origin story, and I don't want to give that away. You guys have got to read it. But it's really interesting how they described how he wants to become a samurai and how he has to do this task in order to, be on his way to being a samurai. So he meets up with this person who has 4 people, I believe. They're like demons, so to say. Like, I don't know if they're demons or if they're monsters. We'll call them monsters. This big spider-like person, like he went into this hole that he wasn't supposed to go to because it was the wrong way. So he says, "You'll be free if you can defeat all my monsters." So he challenges not one by one, but all 4 of them.
At once.
At once. And oh my god, the action and the whole... Oh my god, I was just wowed by the whole entire panel of how he did that. And he even fought the main boss, which was the spy-like monster. And we all know, spoiler, 2 weeks late, he wins. And he escapes. And...
Haku!
Yeah.
Sorry.
And after that, he makes his way to becoming the samurai. This book was definitely worth reading. If you guys have seen the Cartoon Network series of Samurai Jack,
if you're a fan of the series, the artwork
as
looks
me and my
almost
brother are,
identical to
because
it.
we've seen it. I just haven't seen the first episode. I don't know why.
I saw the first episode.
Well, by looking at it, did it look like it was the first episode?
No, it looks like it happened before it.
Or maybe before. Who knows? But definitely, for those of you who have or haven't watched the series, definitely pick up this comic book.
It was
Enjoy it.
spectacular. I love that Cartoon Network and IDW are working together. Next week, this week, the Powerpuff Girls actually came out.
Yeah.
That already came out. That's issue 2 we're up to now.
I know.
Just saying.
Samurai Jack, definitely recommended. Or highly recommended.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually.
Absolutely, positively.
Alright, what's next?
We have 2 from one company, so let's start with the one from one company.
Mm-hmm. This is a Valiant comic book of Shadowman, issue number 13. Now, this comic book...
It felt like a recap of everything that's gone on in the series so far.
Yeah, and it actually leads into the other comic book of Shadowman that's coming out in December, I believe.
Yeah, the only books I'm really I love are Shadowman and Exo-Man of War right now. Those are the ones I'm reading religiously. And then Unity is coming out next week.
Was it next week or was it?
Not next week, the 30th.
Oh, the week
next
after
week,
that.
2 weeks
okay.
after. That we're the second week of November, and Unity is going to be an awesome thing. But we're not talking about.
Yeah,
that.
but
Let's talk about
mainly it
Shadowman.
talks about Shadowman's childhood, of how he became the Shadowman after being in the foster care, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's called the Shadow Report. Basically, it runs through
It runs
everything
through
in the
the
past
whole
12
origin.
issues.
Like, basically, you're reading an issue about Shadowman and how he became to be. And with not reading Shadowman in the past, this was actually something that was saying, oh, now I get to know how Shadowman became to be, because I've never...
Also,
read
this is to
Shadowman
note
before.
that this is Shadowman issue 13X.
Right. Oh, it's X? Oh, I didn't
X,
see
because
13X.
it says, actually, when you get to the end of the story arc,
It's
or the
continued in
rundown,
Shadowman issue number 13, which is
a
on
brand
sale.
new story arc on sale December 4th.
Right,
So
I
it gives
didn't
you
notice
time
that.
to relax through November.
Right. But it was kind of a short story, more or less, of the origin story. But this was actually good for me as a reader of Shadowman, because, like I said, I never knew, I wanted to know about Shadowman. And this comic book actually gave me the, what I'm looking for, it gave me the knowledge of how Shadowman became to be, and I'm hooked. I'm definitely looking forward to
I don't know if I'm
Shadowman
a
issue
fan.
13.
I don't know if I'm a fan of the pencils coming in.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yeah, for the new
Just-
story
Oh,
arc.
sniffing glue?
Yeah, I don't know
I
how.
don't read that. I just skipped that part.
Yeah, but I think this is the new story.
That's
and
leading into also-
Roberto Della Torre. No, I like his art. Maybe it's just a preview page. We'll see in the
No,
next
it wasn't
issue.
the artwork, it was the story.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I mean, I've read so many comic books, and it
It's
was
only 2 pages. It was a preview. See, Unity.
Yeah, Unity is something I'm looking forward to reading of that.
But I enjoyed reading the recap. It's basically, if you have not been reading Shadowman and you want a quick recap of what you missed up until issue 13, you could check it out in this book, 13X, and then you could shoot back into the series at issue 13, and you're good to go.
Exactly. Definitely, like, if you want to know Shadowman's origin, that story 13X is just for you. Definite pickup.
And now we're in Dynamite Entertainment. We're concluding with Dynamite Entertainment, and you read this one solely.
Yes, I did as well. Spider, issue number 15.
The Spider.
Oh, The Spider. Didn't see the over there. Issue number 15. This character still...
It's in Brooklyn!
And it's in Brooklyn. This character still reminds me of the Punisher. I don't know if you guys like that compare and contrast characters and all that, but he is so like the Punisher. Like, he just goes after the people.
That's what made it interesting to me, is the fact that he's so much like the Punisher.
Yeah, he just goes after the people who once did something, and even though that they learned from their mistakes, he just says, no, even though you did, boom, just kill them right there. And there's actually people who are looking for the Spider.
Yeah, they want to shut him down.
Crime. And there's this old guy, I don't think they said what his name was, who asks a redheaded woman to team up together about the Spider, or to give information about the Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a whole big conflict between Nita and, what was his name? I hate when I'm not good with names of the Spider. The Spider's name, what was his name?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
But, like, you get that confrontation that they had in the beginning of like saying, you know, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, being the whole Spider investigation, because she's not behind the whole thing of him killing. I think his name is Richard.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think his name was Richard. If I'm wrong, I'm really sorry. I'm not good with remembering every names because I've read so many comic books this week. It's just been all over the place. So yeah, so she just leaves, but then she comes back after a while when he asks for help about the whole investigation of the Spider. But definitely a definite read for those of you who like the Spider, and for those of you who have read the Punisher comic books. That's like him. You know, they should actually do a crossover. If they did a crossover with the Shadow and the Punisher, that, I don't know how excellent it would be, because they're like really the same in so many ways. And it's on that page. His name?
Richard.
Richard. I was right, Richard. And there's lots of other things too, but I don't want to give it all away because I want you guys to definitely read this. But I was really amazed when I read The Spider, and I really enjoy reading this. I mean, it reminds me, like I said before, the Punisher. And the story, even the ending part, is going to be it's going to play a huge role in future issues to come of that big explosion thing that happened in the end. I'm not going to say by who or what. You just got to read a comic book. But definitely read Spider. The Spider. Absolutely.
And the final book of the week is Army of Darkness, Reanimator, the 48-page one-shot special. I really enjoyed this issue a lot. If you guys are interested in a comic review from Ink, Eric Radcliffe, our good friend Eric, actually did a review. It is already up on Dark Avengering. You guys go check it out there if you want some more in-depth. He is a huge Army of Darkness fan, so his review is from experience. His collection is vast, so if you want somebody who has the knowledge of Army of Darkness, that review is where you go for that.
He's good with the knowledge of comic books.
As casual fans of Army of Darkness and this comic series, this was a fun read. I enjoyed that Ash gets his hand back, or a hand, I should say, for a brief amount of time. You want to continue with it?
Yeah, like there was this experiment that the doctor did to him with the hand, but you notice as the panel goes, the hand gets a little bit out of control. You know, skipping over the whole origin story about the doctor and everything. There is some action in this too, and it is very graphic as well.
Yeah, apparently somebody, we find out where Ash's hand, where he got his hand from,
Yeah, and that's the origin story. And the artwork is good. I have to say that. There's a big dialogue of the origin, but as the hand gets out of control, like you see that he almost, well, it does get out of control of people, but when it gets to the doctor, like almost killing him, he actually saws off his hand.
Just like in the movie.
Yeah,
but except on the movie he used it.
Yeah, and wasn't it also like The Walking Dead when Rick sawed his hand off? Yeah, it kind of has a mix between those two. I'm comparing things lately, and that's not healthy. But beside the point, I'm just kidding about that. Beside the point, after he saws off his hand, now they're trying to do like new experiments, but in the end, things don't work out so well. And, well, not for the doctor, things don't work out so well because of all the experiments he did on them. And, basically, let's just say the doctor's ended up in decapitation.
Yeah.
So to say.
Let's just say evil definitely took him, and there was an epic scene where Ash puts his metallic hand back on.
Oh, I love that.
And he's like, "Hail to the king!" Just punches the guy, breaks his face open. It was awesome.
Yeah, and the issue was like the story was really explained thoroughly. Even though there was a lot of dialogue, you can definitely understand the story.
And it's funny because he ends up in jail.
Yeah, they do a little bit of the after effects of what happened to Ash, and it's the end because it's.
And the Necronomicon is actually locked away in the.
This is a one shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Mistonic Library. It's like.
But guys, if you are an Army of Darkness fan, and if you want to see more stuff as basically the movie, sort of.
If you're a fan of the movie, you will definitely love this comic series. The artwork was pretty good,
he knows.
And there is actually a Reanimator issue number 0, which came out in 2005, which is also a part of this book.
The artwork's
different.
Too crazy.
Artwork's more cartoony.
I wasn't too crazy about this artwork. The second story,
very bloody too. Very, very like not just a little, like super bloody.
Definitely, like almost every panel. But I was like, it's just the artworks, but the story could have been a little bit better. Yeah. But the story itself, the first story, was...
it's actually advertising Army of Darkness versus Reanimator. It says continued in Army of Darkness versus Reanimator trade paperback.
Yeah. But the first story was an absolute read, and if you're an Army of Darkness fan, you'll be picking up, and if not, then you probably won't.
But this was fun to read. As an Army of Darkness fan, like a fan of the movie, and I am reading the Army of Darkness Hack/Slash crossover, this is a fun one-shot read. I would love to grab that trade paperback, but we'll see what happens. But that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So this was our indie review of our comic books.
From the week of the 23rd, not the 30th.
Paperback. And just a recap, up to you guys. If you're a Futurama fan, and 2 of these best comic books of that week. I'm not sure if I said one of them was, but I say both, really, because they're both good reads.
Also, don't forget to check out comicrelated.com, your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Don't forget to check out Dark Avenger Inc., group channel that we all work on. And there's a bunch of links on Dark Avenger Inc. That involve one or several of us on Dark Avenger Inc. So give those links a check out. If you're not subscribed to this channel and you enjoy what you see, please do click that sub button. This way we're in your subscription box and you won't miss out on a single indie review, regular Dark Avenger review,
or any other
videos we have. If you have not already subscribed to Dark Avenger Inc., please click that sub button so the entire group will be in your subscription box. And whatever we do on Inc., you won't miss out on anything there either. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for being patient this week. I apologize. I went MIA for a week because I got sick. It's going to take a while to catch up on things. What?
No, I was just going to say, also comment below of
any suggestions.
Yeah, any comic book suggestions that you've been reading that we should check out, because we will definitely take it into consideration, even though there's this whole
once again, if you want a reply from myself, from Mike, or from both of us, question or opinion that you want our opinion, something you want our opinion on, or a statement that you want our reply to, anything you want a direct reply to, feel free to leave the comment. But also, if you want a reply from one or both of us, blow up my inbox. I check my personal messages every day anyway. So if you want to reply about anything, any questions you have, any comments, any statements or opinions you'd like to share and have us discuss back and forth with you, send it to our PM box on this channel.
Yeah, or I said they could go to do Rocketee as well.
If
you want to, but it's best if you do it here.
Yes, because this is where all the comic stuff is discussed. So
discussed.
Feel free to blow up the inbox, as many messages as you want, but don't send a million messages.
Well, they want to know.
But for now, who knows?
Yeah.
YouTube will probably end up fixing this problem anyway, and you'll be able to reply.
So.
I don't like it because I don't like that commenters can't even comment each other back anymore. So hopefully they'll fix that. But until then, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. Take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and
keep watching.
We'll see you guys in the next video, so take care, everybody.
Later, guys.